Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm seeing a lot of information come out in recent weeks that really has me wondering, are prop firms in trouble? I have no idea what's going on 100% with any certainty. This is just things I've noticed, and I feel like I'm not seeing it from any one specific firm. I'm kind of seeing these things happen industry wide, which made me really wonder what's going on behind the scenes. I made a video a long time ago about, does it make sense to have regulation in the prop space? Could traders see the balance sheets of prop firms? Can we see their liquidity? Can we see how they're making their money? Is it from evals or profit splits with live traders? So, anyways, these questions have always kind of been in my mind about, would that be better or worse for the space? And I'm seeing, like, little by little, I'm seeing changes in how they market themselves and how they describe themselves and even in their accounts, right? So my last video was about Tradeify changing their rules, but I want to say I feel like I was a little harsh on Tradeify specifically, and they're not the only ones we're seeing in the space making a number of random changes. So I saw this tweet today. This was the original tweet. I did some more research. I guess he's been talking about it for almost a month now, but somebody on Twitter named Ledesi, um, he said that there's going to be changes in my funded futures where starter plus and milestone accounts were going to come back as permanent account types. That they were going to remove the 100 and 150K starter plans, and that there's going to be a price increase on the 50K starter plan and a price increase on the expert plan. And I guess he was basing that on this image that appears to be from Matt, the CEO of My Funded Futures, and it's a letter where he's detailing the changes that Desi quoted up there. So again, he said starter plus, and milestone plans will be reintroduced as full-time product offerings in the 50K, 100, and 150K sizes with minor pricing adjustments. The starter plan will no longer be offered for new purchases in the 100K and 150K sizes. However, existing customers may continue to trade their starter plans as normal, including resetting current valuations. The starter plan 50K will see a price increase for both evaluations and resets for new purchases. The expert plan pricing will see an increase for evaluations and resets. And this is pretty big because when my funded futures first came out, the starter plan, the 50K account was, I believe, $100. And then they took it down to 50 with like a revamp, and they introduced a daily loss limit and other restrictions on payouts like consistency rules, news rules, and like kind of removing the buffer and how you get paid out on a starter plan. So it went from $100 to $50. Then they brought it back to $80 on a 50K account. So a price increase again. I'm probably anticipating anywhere from $100 to 125. And my funded futures doesn't really have a lot of sales anymore. When they first came out, I think they had a sale every single month, and then they slowly kind of did away with that. They started basically coming out with plans that were pretty affordable, if you ask me. Um, and then they kind of phase them out, right? So they bring the plans out, price them at $50, no activation fee. It's a great deal. And then eventually they raise the prices to like 80, and then now we're going to see another price increase. And this is what I talked about in my previous video where I said I think prop firms are bringing out plans that are unsustainable just to gain hype and get people talking. And then once people are interested and know about it, then they kind of like come back like the bait and switch and like, oh, okay, the prices are going to go back to regular prices. It's almost like a sale, but they don't market it as a sale. They just come out with these programs with these insanely low prices or affordable prices, and then they kind of do away with it. And we've seen Trade Day do something similar, where Trade Day didn't used to have an activation fee for sim funded accounts. When they first came out, it was I think you went straight to live with them. Then they introduced the sim funded option that had no activation fee, and then they brought on an activation fee for the sim funded accounts. So this is one tweet, and this is kind of another updated tweet detailing these changes to my funded futures. Again, 100K, 150K starter accounts are being removed. Starter Plus will be available with price changes, and there's no details on the prices on the Starter Plus. Expert plan remains the same with price changes. Milestone plan here to stay. And his opinion, he thinks 100K and 150K starters are the best accounts, and he's trying to promote his code, which is fine. But I'm really curious to see if they're gonna literally bring the starter accounts right back to where they used to be, which is $100 for the 50K. And I think it's kind of interesting that they're removing the option for the 100K and 150K. I think a lot of these plans when they came out were just marketing tools, where they had no intention of keeping these plans in the long run, and it was just kind of to get you using them. Once you get to use them, maybe you get a payout, maybe you don't, but now you're aware that they exist and etc. Starter Plus, again, they said this will become a permanent offering with adjusted pricing. Expert plan parameters will remain available with adjusted pricing. Milestone plan. So to me, it sounds like everything's going up. Starter plans going up. Starter Plus price going up. Expert plan price going up. Milestone plan will be permanent. And it's like, okay, cool. Sure. Then we go back to Tradeify. Tradeify again, which was, they were one of the kind of big straight to funding prop firms that got a lot of buzz because they had Tradeify and they seem to be operating much better than other straight to funded prop firms that are no longer in business. And for them it was really quick. I mean, they came out a couple months ago and already they're kind of making these changes that again are not very user friendly. And the one that they changed that really had me like, like what's going on here, was they changed the drawdown on the 150K account. I think all these accounts actually had new trailing drawdown limits, but they took this one from $7,500 to $6,000. And what was gross to me about that was they kept the price target the same, or the profit target the same for your first payout. So you have a $6,000 drawdown and a daily loss limit and a 20% consistency rule with a $9,000 profit goal. And let's say you somehow hit the first payout, they cap you on what you can withdraw. So you made 9,000, you can withdraw 3. It doesn't say it here, but that's the number. It's 3,000. And then to get the second payout, you need to make another $4,500 to get the second $3,000 payout. And it's just like, okay, what? So remember, if you made 9, took out 3, you're at 6. You have to make $4,500 again to get an additional 3,000. So far overall, you've made about like $13,000, $13,500 in this account, and you could only withdraw 6,000. I think stuff like this makes people really not like prop firms because you can't plan when they're always changing these rules, right? Like they're telling you to be a consistent trader and don't gamble and like all these things, right? But you can't make if you're like a trader, right? And you want to plan your year and you want to budget for, these things. You can't because the rules and programs are always changing. Like there's no planning. You have to kind of literally wake up and see what they're doing and kind of adapt. So again, it goes back to my own thoughts on how these prop firms use certain language that I think it's really inappropriate for how they describe traders. And then the third prop firm I'm talking about is UProfit. UProfit was one of my faves this year because they introduced a plan called a zero plan that supposedly had like no profit split. You could swing trade overnight. At first, there was no activation fee at some point, and no consistency rule. And this was announced less than like a month after they brought out these plans. It says, official announcement. At UProfit, we are committed to providing you with the best services and tools for your growth, with the objective of optimizing our offer and ensuring a better experience we have made the decision to make some adjustments to our programs. As of this date, we have decided to discontinue the zero programs. While we value the learning obtained during the launch of these programs, we believe it is time to focus our efforts on offering even more innovative and personalized solutions. If you already have a zero life program on or account active, you can continue operating with it. As a sign of our commitment to our success, we're pleased to announce day accounts will maintain a discount. But all these changes mean something. They're not doing it because they're bored. Um, I am really concerned about like how these prop firms are really doing behind the scenes. I think a lot of things are happening at the same time. I think we're seeing a much more volatility in the markets. And I also think I want to believe that traders or retail traders are getting smarter and getting better. I want to believe that more of us are getting payouts. You guys know this is my first year as a profitable trader with prop firms, and it's not just me. A lot of my friends that I introduced to prop trading are also having profitable years, and for all of us, this is like our first year being profitable. But we've had years where we're unprofitable. So I think over time, when people really kind of go through this stage of like learning to trade and learning to really trade with prop firms specifically, they're going to get better. They're going to get better, not necessarily as traders, but they're going to get better at getting money from prop firms. If you force somebody to buy resets over and over and over and over again, they're going to learn something. And I think a lot of people are learning. I think they're sharing notes. I think people are watching these YouTube channels. I think they're doing all kinds of stuff, honestly, to become better. And I think it's squeezing the margins of prop firms. Um, what I see them doing is basically making plans that are less favorable to traders. But at what point does their plans become so unfavorable that traders say, forget it, I'll never trade my own money? Um, at some point, there's going to be that point where it's not worth the squeeze anymore. If they're making plans that are just don't make sense on paper for you, or it's like, the plans have a lot of rules where it's like they don't even make sense, rules that clearly just exist not to make you a better trader, not to help them vet for good traders, but to literally make you fail their eval. Eventually, you're gonna not do it anymore. That's just reality. So I think I can understand them trying to make their rules tighter and trying to maintain their own like business models, making it sustainable. But at the same time, it's give and take. There's a certain point where traders are gonna have enough and say, you know what, like the hoops they require you to jump through that don't actually make you a better trader, that actually encourage bad habits. I'm just not gonna do it. I'm just gonna be more disciplined in my own personal accounts. I think that's what we're gonna see. I don't think prop firms are actually ready for a growing percentage of traders to actually be good traders. Um, if you think about even just the math or nature of prop firms in general, most prop firms are requiring you to make 100 or 200% or even more to get into a funded account. Who's getting 200% in the markets? People that are putting on massive risk and taking risks. So that's who they're gonna have getting into funded accounts. If that's who's getting into funded accounts, who are they putting in live accounts? People that generate significant profits. Who's doing that? Again, people taking on significant risk. So what I see happening is the people that are kind of going slow or trading micros or trying to really build accounts slowly, I don't see them really getting as much funded accounts as the people taking on bigger risk. Saying, you know what, if I blow the eval, if I blow the account, who cares? I'll buy another one. So are they really encouraging good trading, or are they really encouraging you to try to game the system and just pass the eval and get a payout? And I think the rules they're making, they're possibly trying to deter that with consistency rules and make X amount of dollars for X amount of days to get a payout. People that like play these games with prop firms, they're gonna find ways around it. Like they're it's like they made their life work to do this type of stuff. Whereas that's not real trading to me. Trying to gain prop firms is not real trading. So I'm more in favor of fair rules. I'm in favor of more transparency. When I see all these changes happening so quick, I just know for a fact these platforms are making massive payouts, and they're like, like, whoa, we got to stop. And that's what I'm seeing happening. These changes are not to help you out. They're not. These changes are trying to put in place systems and barriers to either keep you in the eval stage longer, so you can keep paying the monthly fees, or to make you fail the eval sooner, or to get you into a funded but never get to a payout. Lots of prop firms you can get to a funded account very quickly and never get to a payout. And I remember 2 years ago, one of the prop firms I really, really liked in the beginning, but didn't like once I got into a funded account with them, was Take Profit Trader. They had you have end of day trailing drawdown in the evals and intraday in a funded account. It's like stuff like that to me, it exists for a reason. Same thing with prop firms that have you can't trade micros. So like expert accounts on my funded futures, they say you could have 5 contracts, but that 5 contracts, it's either 5 minis or 5 micros, or some mix. But it's not like one mini equals 5 micros, and it's in my real account it is. In my personal Tradeify account, in my Charles Schwab account, one mini does equal 5 micros, or 10 micros. But I just think prop firms are really they're just looking for ways, honestly, to make their money. And I think we're seeing a change. I'm seeing a change in the industry. They're getting stricter, and I think it's going to change the kind of people that are going to be interested in prop firms and their own, even just their own marketing. And also, I think the government's going to eventually may or may not, get involved and regulate the space. Who knows? But I'm curious to see what 2025 brings, if we have new companies and what they bring. My Funded Futures not that long ago was a new company themselves, and now, I mean, everybody in the space rates them highly, and I do too. I still rate my Funded Futures pretty high. I do have my affiliate code with them, Honest Prop Trader, if you guys want to try an account with them. But yeah, I'm curious to see how these changes play out, and let me know what you guys think in the comment.